Hello and welcome back to the Dev channel. It's been a while, but we're back now and we're ready to roll. So let's dig straight into what's been happening in the world of AI. So Harvey, there's been some big developments coming from Gemini the last couple of weeks. The most interesting one is the CLI. Do you want to tell us about that?
Yeah, so very newly released is the Gemini CLI with a very generous free tier, actually, might I add. I think they're really trying to get a lot of developers on board. But it's some new tooling that they're branding as Agentic, but you can plug it into any workload. It's basically a client for Gemini, but it lives on your terminal. They're bundling this with an extension to sort of give a Copilot offering to VS Code. But yeah, it could be quite exciting to see how it's used, especially because of the generous free tier as well.
So it's the first sort of drive by Google outside of the Google ecosystem, isn't it? So it's going to be
Correct.
really good opening that up and seeing how people can use and how it performs against the other sort of code generating tools that are out there.
Yeah, I mean, there's offerings from pretty much all the big players now that live in the terminal. You know, Claude Code. I think Codex had a terminal version as well from OpenAI. So yeah, Google's throwing their hat in the ring, and it'd be interesting to see how useful it is.
Cool, thank you. And there's also been some pretty significant changes, let's say, in the Copilot world in their pricing model. Do you want to just cover up what's happened?
Indeed, it's been quite a mess of a release, but we were notified probably about a month before that there were going to be some changes to the pricing model and a new tier involved, which was Copilot Pro Plus. There was a very vague statement released early on for this, which was, oh, now we're introducing premium requests, and this will have yeah, you can use our premium class of models, you know, like Sonnet, and there's some more in there. I think there's some more premium OpenAI ones. But it was so vague that it got everyone in uproar. When this did get released, they had to introduce a grace period because there was no way of viewing your premium requests and no one had any clue how this was working. Now the dust has settled to a point, and I think that Copilot has hemorrhaged a few users, and I think that's, you know, they've said, no, I'm been in the subscription, I'm going over to Cursor. Cursor stayed at their same price point. It's still double that what, you know, Copilot monthly subscription is for a personal user. But yeah, they handled it really badly. I mean, personally for me, I mean, I don't really use the premium requests, and I feel like the agent mode has been dumbed down a little bit anyway, but I don't really use the agent mode anyway. But yeah, it was poorly handled, sadly.
But Copilot, Microsoft aren't the only ones that have done this. I think Cursor sort of has a very similar billing model, doesn't it now, in the sense of the premium and the regular requests as well, or am I getting that wrong?
I think they top. I'm not an expert with Cursor, to be fair, but I think it does top out on a certain amount of requests. But I believe it's high, and it's so transparent and invisible to the user that they don't really care. They seem to be happy to go over to Cursor. I mean, fair play. Copilot, you know, does now show your premium requests. It does show how much you've used, so it is fairly simple. But it's got a lot of backs up that all of a sudden it appeared to be dumbed down, and then this new tier of $40 a month has come out. So yeah, people aren't happy.
So if people are jumping from sort of VS Code Copilot to Cursor or another, what's they're all obviously based on the VS Code base because they're still using the same underlying IDE. You know, it's how they're keeping the friendly, you know, jump around. What will people be missing out if they have decided, right, I've had enough of Copilot, I'm jumping over to Cursor? You know, what's the benefits? What are the losses?
Well, like you said, right, it's a very familiar ground. They're going to open up Cursor. They'll still have their extensions, and it'll work simply, quite the same. Keyboard shortcuts, the lot, right? But you do lose the Microsoft features, you know, like Pylons, for example, for Python. You know, you can't install that in anything but VS Code. You know, Azure extensions, you know, these need to be installed in VS Code. So if you're in quite a Microsoft ecosystem as a developer, you're going to find it very difficult to transfer over to Cursor. I mean, maybe I'm a little biased about how I use it, right? But you know, Copilot does have the features of Cursor. It's just not in a nice UI package. So Cursor's one of the killer features was the sort of next suggestion, and it would say, oh, you might be wanting to edit this. But Copilot does have this new NES feature, next edit suggestions. Although the UI isn't as good, it's perfectly serviceable compared to Cursor. It's just a shame that the pricing model is now offset, the distribution of developers, whereas Copilot was, really prominent. I think we're going to start seeing developers really branch out between, Cursor, Windsurf, Roo, Klein. There's so many offerings now. I think it's going to start, spreading out.
Thank you very much for your input. As always, if you want any more AI facts or any more discussions, please do subscribe. And thank you very much. That's all for this week. Thanks, Harvey.
Thanks all.